Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Estate Talk. My name is Tom Scully, of course, your digital real estate agent, and today's going to be a doozy, how to choose a realtor. Most people, of course, go through Google, they go through Facebook, Instagram, ask for friends for referrals or their grandma's neighbor's friend, who knows. That's a pretty big mistake, truthfully. I'm going to show you things to avoid, and I'm also going to show you what you should do instead. So stay tuned and let's take a look at how you choose a realtor. So to kick it off first, let's talk about a quick analogy. You just booked your dream vacation to a country you've always wanted to go to. The only cool part about this vacation, though, is you get to pick the pilot of the plane. That sounds pretty cool. First pilot's been there for a long time, thousands of hours of flight, and they say to you, don't worry, I've done this a million times. It's basically on autopilot. Next pilot comes through and they're like, oh, you should probably let me fly this plane. I'm a rock star. You see my face everywhere. I'll be flying this plane, but I'll also be flying a bunch of other planes simultaneously on my phone. I hope that's okay with you. Next pilot comes through. You should hire me as your pilot. I just came out of flight school. I'm eager, I'm focused, I'm ready, and I really want to fly this plane for you. I don't have a ton of experience, but don't worry. Now, you might think that this analogy is ridiculous. Putting a real estate agent and a pilot is not the same thing at all. But if you consider your financial future, maybe your investments future, maybe your family's future into that, you can see how this is actually a very large transaction, a very important decision to make. You shouldn't just trust anybody. Now, if the answer to that analogy in your head is, I don't have enough information, how am I supposed to pick a pilot based on that? That's absolutely correct. And the whole idea of that analogy is you don't have enough information. You don't have enough information when you're asking for a quick referral, and that shouldn't be the first thing you go to when you're choosing a real estate agent. What you should do, and what I do suggest to every single person, is you grab 5 potential people that might be a great fit for you, and you interview them, each and every one. And just to help you out, down in the description, I do have a free downloadable checklist that you can use to do such things. But first, let's get into some key factors and things to look for and things to avoid. So let's go through some key factors to consider. The first of which is experience and specialization. Now, each of those pilots could be the right realtor for you. Each and every one of them does have strengths and weaknesses, and you won't know exactly who to choose unless you go through this process to find out which one best suits your particular needs. And I say that in particular because everybody's needs are very, very different. There is no one size fits all for everybody. So please go through this process. But experience and specialization is pretty straightforward. Not everybody is created equal. Are they experienced in your type of transaction? Do they specialize in your area in particular? Do they understand the current market trends? For example, the buyer's market, seller's market? Do they know how to price a home properly with respect to buying or selling? Second being track record and reviews. Don't be afraid to ask for reviews. Check their past sales. They should have lots of information, but if they are new, of course, they won't have that. But you can ask for references of new people from people that may be able to give them. They have had past jobs likely, unless they are quite young. But do your due diligence until you find out what is best for you in that area. Marketing and negotiation skills, very important. And you can see some very drastic changes in this depending on, the realtor themselves. When it comes to selling a home, marketing is obviously key. When it comes to buying a home, negotiation is very key. Negotiation and sales is obviously important as well when you're selling. But you want to make sure that the person who's representing your interests can do those things. And we know for a fact that excellent marketing increases the price of homes, usually because it brings in more buyers to the property and pushes up the price. Past that, what makes a strong offer? Do they understand those things? How are they going to negotiate your home? What materials they can use for marketing, professional videos, professional photos, etc., etc. Availability and communication. This is a huge piece. This is a lot of things that you're going to be going through. If it's maybe your first time or even you've done this before, there's a lot of documents. There's a lot of legal forms. You need to understand these thoroughly because they're binding agreements. So are they able to communicate those with you? Are they too busy? Do they not get back to you fast enough? Do they use just phone, or can they text, or can they call, or do they fit your communication needs? And lastly, personality and fit. So last one being personality and fit. This is a very personal transaction that you're going through, and you want to make sure that the representation you have, being a buyer or a seller, fits what you're looking for, personality-wise, communication-wise, and just gels. You never want to have the feeling of, I never think that they're working in my best interest, or I don't really trust what they're doing. That overarching feeling is really important when it comes to your sleeping at night, truthfully, and your smoothness of the process. If you keep questioning your representation and your personality with them or how they're fitting with you, then you're going to have usually a choppy transaction. Might get you through the finish line, but it definitely won't help. Now some common mistakes that I want to share with you that I like to tell people that you should be avoiding, and some big red flags. Now, just to note on these red flags, just because they come up doesn't mean that that agent is not the right one for you. They're just things that you want to, be wary of when you're doing this process to make sure that you get the right person for you. The first thing that I like to tell people to avoid is try to avoid choosing an agent based on their commission alone. Now, commission obviously is a big conversation. It comes up both buyer and seller side. Sometimes there is buyer commissions that you'll be, required to pay, so be wary of that. But when it comes to sellers, don't just choose somebody because they're cheap, and don't choose somebody because they're the most expensive and promising things. Get a little information as to what they're providing you and some historical information as to, their recent sales records. That'll help you choose. But don't just choose based on the commissions alone, because that is not the overarching and be-all end-all to the process. Next is, if you're hiring a friend or a family, you're not vetting them. Don't do that. Not saying don't hire a friend or family, but make sure that anybody that you're choosing goes through this process of being vetted. Like anything else, this is a job that they're applying for. I'm not saying that I haven't had friends or family hire me, and I haven't had friends or family that didn't want to work with me. Sometimes they don't want to share personal financial information. I totally understand that. But anybody that you have that is potentially being your agent should be going through this vetting process. The next one is a big one, ignoring the red flags, and this is where it breaks down into a few. Now again, doesn't mean that there's not the right person for you, but if things like this come up, just be wary of it. The first one is pushiness. If I see agents that come across, sometimes they say, hey, I'm the best, just sign these documents, let's get to work. Pump the brakes, go through your process, and just see if that's the truth. The next one is avoiding some vague answers. I sell more homes than anybody, I'm better than anybody at this job, nobody beats me at 1, 2, or 3 things. Look for some concrete evidence. Vague answers don't really do anybody any good whatsoever. Next one's poor communication. If you're trying to make this meeting happen, say you want to interview this person and it gets pushed, or they can't make that time, can't make this time. Not saying that they're not great for you, but that immediately starts making you ask questions of going, well, are they gonna have time to work with me? And last one is a pretty big one, that's over-promising. On the seller side, we see it sometimes where some people might come in looking to overpromise on something, ask for forgiveness later, and just to get the transaction. Now, they might be excellent at their job, so the red flag goes up, but again, go through the process to make sure they fit for you. If you see things like, oh, the average sale price of this home in this area is X, Y, Z, and they're offering you A, B, C, which is way higher, that should tell you, pump the brakes, go through the process, and vet them properly. So there it is, friends, Real Estate 101, essentially, how to choose your realtor. Probably one of the most important videos that you're going to be able to share with friends and family, because choosing the right representation, either as a buyer or a seller, is going to make all the difference in your transaction. And there are some great agents out there. Doesn't matter the market. I'm sure there's tons of them. I know there's a lot here in Windsor, Essex. Not just myself, there are lots of them. So make sure you do this, go through the vetting process, use that downloadable PDF down in the description or my website, depending on what YouTube lets me do, but it'll be somewhere. Entirely free, no obligation. Just use it. Choose the right person that works in your best interests. And as I say in almost every single video, the more well-informed you are, the better the transaction will be, the smoother the process will be. So hope you liked this video. Share it with friends and family if you did. I totally appreciate that. Like and subscribe, all the fun things, etc., etc. Thanks everybody. Real Estate Talk with Tom Scully. We will see you again soon.